so you can spread out as much as you need to.
It's good to know. I on the chair. If it slides.
You want to put it on before I start the pledge?
No, I could make it move.
I didn't know if you wanted to make sure you got your stuff done first.
Still on the chair. There, that way I can. I'm ready. Oops. My watch is fast.
Yes, we're off next week. Or we're off until May. I'll try to remember to say that at the end.
Call me there too.
Couldn't get a gap, I should get, anyway.
Pardon? Okay.
Hello.
Okay, I've got 7 o'clock. If you wouldn't mind, please stand and recite the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please, Cindy.
Chair Russo.
Here.
Rebecca Anderson.
Here.
John Coltis.
Here.
Anthony Gorski. Joseph Keith.
Here.
Lawrence Corsinis.
Here.
Michael Brown.
Here. Okay, welcome everyone. This is a meeting of the Planning Board of the Town of Lancaster. Please keep in mind that we are an advisory and recommending board and not a final decision-making body. We're take a look at the, if the board could take a look at the meeting minutes from March 19th meeting. Ask for any additions, deletions, or comments.
I have a comment under other items to discuss. I've reviewed the changes to zoning code and zoning maps. Do I have any changes or questions? Well, I do now. So before we leave tonight, I'd like to bring something up about the map.
Okay. Any other questions, comments? Hearing none, look for a motion to accept.
So moved. Second.
All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, say no. Great. We'll move on to the communications list. And I will remind the board that we are not meeting in 2 weeks. Our next planning board meeting will be May 7th. So enjoy your time off. Okay, we'll move on and we'll call up our first case. Project number 4036, 1266 Town Line Road. Hello, Mr.
Good evening. I'm Bob Blood, GPI, on behalf of the applicant. Since our meeting last month, we have responded to comments received from the town and resubmitted updated plans. We have executed and filed a stormwater facility maintenance agreement, provided the town attorney with a certified copy, and we have attended the special use permit public hearing at the town board meeting. A decision, I believe, is still being reserved. And I think we're here tonight for a seeker determination and site plan recommendation. We'd be happy to entertain any comments or questions that you have.
Relative to that seeker determination, I believe there was a letter that was sent from DEC regarding wetlands jurisdiction.
Correct, if there were to be impacts.
You haven't received jurisdiction yet, have you?
No, we did a preliminary walkover in the fall, which was illustrated on the existing conditions map we submitted, but it's all well to the south of the project area, and no formal
Okay.
jurisdiction.
Okay.
You didn't need to apply for a permit for anything with the DEC.
No.
But in the letter that came in,
It says to determine whether the property contains regulated freshwater wetlands, the project sponsor must submit a request for parcel jurisdictional determination.
they're making you submit to them for jurisdiction under the new law.
Even if there's no impact? I mean,
Yeah, that's what.
This letter just came in.
That's what they're doing with everybody,
So-
right?
and that's through DEC, which we've submitted in January and still not heard.
No.
We'll work our way through the seeker, but I think that based off of that letter, we're not going to be able to do a determination.
It was, it wasn't, should, they said must.
submit.
They said maybe.
But we can certainly work our way through the other items and just not be able to resolve item number 9.
I'm not expecting anything, but they put it in their hands, so.
Before we
Okay.
get to the seeker review, though, I think I should open up to the board for any questions or comments on the project itself. No?
No, it's an area of town that has had this type of development for a long time. It's in addition to an existing project. It's adding on to an existing building, which maybe will clean up some of the stuff.
That's the intent, yes.
There's a lot of stuff parked outside. I don't understand the new DEC regs if you're not in an area that had nothing before. I don't understand the reason for the letter must resubmit.
I can't answer for them.
And I can't answer for them either, other than say that those I've spoken to are taking care out. So,
So the preliminary walkover that did determine there were jurisdictional wetlands,
who did the preliminary walkover?
Scott Livingstone with Earth Dimensions when they were still Earth
And
Dimensions.
he wrote up his report, and you submitted
It was
that.
just a walkover. He provided a letter, which I believe the applicant has, and then plotted the points which we showed on our mapping.
And you submitted that,
Yeah, to DEC.
did you?
We did not. At that point, it was still not under their control, I believe.
Right,
It was a federal,
until the rules changed.
yeah.
But now we're caught in the new laws.
I can't help you.
Any other questions or comments from the board?
I was hoping we could move along with this, but move on.
Ed, anything from you?
No, everything from the town's perspective has been satisfied.
Emily, anything from legal?
No.
Matt, any questions or comments from the?
Just a comment for the letter of determination from the DEC. During a presentation that was made by a webinar on March 5th from the DEC to municipalities, they did make mention of the process of their new regulations and requirements, and they can accept a determination from the municipality with known history of wetland areas on a specific project with a specific site in mind. I would recommend communication with our local representatives here at downtown at DEC, have that conversation, and I notify them that the letter of jurisdiction, I gotta get that terminology, right, the letter
Jurisdictional determination.
determination is not warranted for this specific project because, as it was stated earlier, we're building an addition on an existing property with an existing impervious paved surface. The areas that have been identified as wetland area are well to the south and west of the project site. It is on the parcel, but it is not being impacted by the project site. And I believe the DEC will receive that information from the municipality to limit their inquiries of jurisdictional determination. They admitted on March 5th that they cannot service all of the requests for jurisdictional determinations. And that's why they rely on the local municipalities to report to the DEC with their findings of historic knowledge of what the site conditions are.
It's incredibly helpful.
Would that come from the planning board or the town board?
Yeah, us to them.
That would be from us directly?
Town board, site engineer, historic records, documentation from the previous site plan, all of that matters.
But our knowledge of the site, I mean, I didn't drive in. I went just to the driveway and peeked and came out. I don't trespass. It's a working site, and I don't want to get hit by a truck. So, and this is a while ago. And there's no wetlands that you can see that are impacted. So I'm interpreting what you're saying, that if we go through our secret review and on number 9, whether proposed action provided adverse change to wetlands, our answer is no, because it's an already disturbed site where they're taking their action, and we document that with the plans, and we,
What if we add all that to the determination? That's
That will
probably,
be beneficial, and
Yeah.
then communicating that with our
'Cause we still-
affiliates downtown.
yeah,
and you have your letter from
From Scott, Cheryl, I believe.
from
from Scott?
your walkover.
I believe, yeah, I can
Yeah.
produce that in the morning.
We were provided the points for mapping. I didn't see the actual letter that they worked under
And we would
separate.
need a copy of that to attach.
I can
Right.
give it to you in the morning.
Yeah, I think if we expand the determination, part 3 determination, and explain all of that and submit that, 'cause that goes to DEC.
Emily, from a legal perspective, does that work?
I think we move on.
Yeah, that would work.
But that doesn't negate the must resubmit, right? Or that doesn't negate that, does it?
We are must resubmitting additional information under secret.
No,
Well,
we are.
It was, the submittal is to determine whether the property contains regulated wetlands, and I
Right.
think everybody's in agreement that it does. It does say some limited activities are exempt from permitting as well.
I'm sorry,
There's one of their statements here is though, some limited activities are exempt from permitting.
But you did receive a letter saying that you must resubmit,
Right.
right? So there's no way we could supersede that. We could just add
Sure, we can.
information to let their
I think we,
critique of it to be
I
less.
think there's a home rule, we can supersede it.
I think the.
We can
what I heard
supersede
is
the
we
whole.
can.
Okay.
Yeah, I think as long as we
Great.
cover it in our part 3 determination.
I just don't want to delay you anymore by guessing wrong.
Yeah.
If,
Yeah.
just a question. We know the wetlands are to the south. If there was a DEC wetland on the 100-foot buffer, would it encroach onto the site?
No, in fact, I have an exhibit here that would show
Look,
the purple being what Scott delineated, the hatched area being the 100-foot buffer, and then this would be the detention basin.
okay, so we need
Yeah.
a copy of that to go in.
Yeah.
Yep. I think we can move along in this project.
great.
Yeah, I think,
I'd really hate to hold things up.
As do
There's
the rest of
something
us.
that is out of our hands.
Yep.
And it's out of your hands too.
Correct.
And that's the ticket. Had you not done your homework, it'd be different, but you did.
Before we even knew about the building addition, the
Right,
CATCO wanted to kind of know what they're dealing with for this and future projects.
Yep.
right, right.
So it was a good faith effort to see what one opinion of the potential was.
Well, I agree with what Rebecca said. Matt, thank you very much. That was very helpful to provide that information. At this point, we're going to ask if there's any public comments, questions for the project itself. Okay, hearing none, we'll look for seeker.
First one?
Short form, question number 1. Will the proposed action create a material conflict with an adopted land use plan or zoning regulations?
No.
Question number 2. Will the proposed action result in change in the use or intensity of use of land?
No.
Number 3. Will the proposed action impair the character or quality of the existing community?
No.
4 is not applicable. 5. Will the proposed action result in an adverse change in the existing level of traffic or affect existing infrastructure for mass transit, biking, or walkway?
No.
Number 6, will the proposed action cause an increase in the use of energy and it fails to incorporate reasonably available energy conservation or renewable energy opportunities?
Nope.
No.
Number 7, will the proposed action impact existing public or private water supplies,
No.
public or private wastewater treatment utilities?
No.
Number 8, will the proposed action impair the character or quality of important historic, archaeological, architectural, or aesthetic resources?
No.
Number 9, will the proposed action result in an adverse change to natural resources?
No.
Nope.
Number 10, will the proposed action result in an increase in the potential for erosion, flooding, or drainage problems?
No.
No.
And number 11, will the proposed action create a hazard to environmental resources or human health?
No.
Okay, I'll look for a motion.
I move to negative deck.
I'll second.
Do we need to put any of that stuff that we just referred to in there?
Just, it'll be in the part 3
In
write-up.
part 3,
Okay,
so for now, we just vote.
okay.
All in favor?
All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no.
You got lost.
No.
So, I could hear it.
Okay, we will make our recommendation
Yeah.
for a negative determination, or negative.
Part 3 is where the information that we talked about gets written up, which is why we've determined that there's no, we have information. We have a map.
Well, we have to make sure we get the information, right?
Well,
So
we will.
that'll be provided tomorrow morning.
Yep.
Okay,
Yep.
great,
Great.
awesome, thank you.
So that Matt, conduit or town attorney?
Yep, either or,
Both?
both probably the best.
All right,
We can't do site plan approval though,
Usually, but-
or could we?
oh, yeah,
We can move right along.
okay, great, let's really,
That's what I was
let's,
hoping here.
okay. Look for a motion for site plan.
I'll move to accept the plans as presented, provided that the information negating the location of any wetlands on the site or within the 100-foot buffer is provided.
I'll second.
All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, say no.
And then when that's provided and the determination is written up,
The last piece is in your hands, Mr. Blair.
Thank you much.
Thank you very much.
it's moving along. This is, anyway.
All right, our next case would be project number 2432, Next Era Energy.
The third,
That's the condition about the parcel address.
Oh, you're right.
The driveway.
I missed that one.
So, yeah.
Yes. I even wrote it on my sheet. Dumb. Hello.
Good evening.
Good evening.
My name is Alex Amering. I'm with Costage Engineering. With me is Tim Same, operations leader from Nextera, and Zach Metcalf, who is with Chrysantha Construction. Since this project is obviously before this board for the first time tonight, I'll give you a little overview. Late last year, NextEra Energy started discussion with Uniland Corporation, who previously built all the infrastructure at Eastport Commerce Park. I believe another project was before this board recently. After looking at a few different sites, they ultimately arrived at this one here. The address is 700 Eastport Drive. You'll see on this drawing, it's actually rotated, so north is to the left of the page. The property itself's about 10 acres. They have closed on it. They do own it. It's obviously located, as the rest of the park is, in the light industrial zoning district. We came in and met with town staff approximately 2 months ago. We obviously submitted to the planning board roughly a month ago. We appeared before the town board roughly 2 weeks ago. It was generally well received by them. The site itself, again, it's kind of elongated north to south, short east to west. The access into the site is located off Eastport Drive. However, the site does extend all the way to the north, where Pleasant View Drive is. So if you enter off of Eastport Drive, there will be a controlled access. There will be a fence around the entire facility. They'll have a keyless access for their employees. It will not be open to the public. There will be approximately a 15,000 square foot building. I believe the elevations submitted to the board were black and white. We have since then been working on a color scheme that works for both the building system and NextEra. It's a gray in color, but it also incorporates NextEra's blue and green color scheme. There's a band along the top of the building that's blue, and then there's canopies over the doors that will be a green that matches, again, their corporate marketing. The building itself, it will have a drive-through. I guess I'll back up a little. So NextEra is a transmission company. They contract to do large projects in this region. They have a number of large projects going on. And this site will essentially serve as a laydown yard. So as their contracts are ongoing, they can deliver materials. NextEra and their subcontractors can then load materials and deliver them to the sites they're working on. So to the rear of the building, there's the secondary accessory structure. What that is, it'll be a covered building, but open on all sides. They'll help keep some materials that are weather sensitive more protected. And then for the most part, the rest of the site is going to be the gravel laydown itself. That'll just be open storage. One thing I'll point out to the board, the initial phase of the project will roughly be 3 acres. You'll see kind of a divider line here. While the fence, the stormwater, and all that will get constructed, this portion of the site will remain undeveloped as it exists today. I believe it's just kind of grassy meadow. So obviously we're asking for site plan approval for the overall build out, but they wouldn't initially build that portion of the project. My understanding is obviously the coordinated seeker review has started. We've received a few of the responses back from the potential involved agencies. I believe it was Erie County Water and New York State DOT. Couple items to note. Utility infrastructure wise, there is water on Eastport Drive. We will be doing a sewer extension, which we anticipate dedicating to Erie County Sewer. We're working with them. And then a couple health department items, backflow prevention and all that. We have received a couple comment letters, one from the town code enforcement. I don't see a need to go through them item by item, but we're comfortable addressing them. We've also received town engineering comments, which we're currently working on, and nothing that was of a big surprise, and we're working on those also. I think at this point, I'd like to turn it over to the board for feedback. Again, Tim can answer more operational questions about their business, employees, that type of thing, and Zach, I think, can speak to the architecture.
Okay, thank you. Ask for any comments or questions or comments from the board?
I just have a question, but I'm always interested in the landscaping plans. I'm working towards having more native species planted and fewer things like ginkgos and llamas and geckos and things. So I'd like to tell you, I think you did a pretty good job choosing conifer species that are not Austrian pines. Austrian pines is what we have up here on Central, and they're getting ready to die. So mixing it up is good. I guess my question is, all the sides are being regraded and reseeded, the slopes on the sides. I'm going to make a suggestion. This is just a request or a suggestion to think about, instead of planting lawn type grasses, plant things that you don't need to mow. Turf grasses require constant mowing if you want it to look like anything, but it's all outside the fence, so you might as well do things like clovers and Bigfoot trefoil and things that get about this high. You mow it twice a year, maybe, and it has habitat value, and it actually saves you money because you don't have to mow it. So give it a thought.
No, I think that's a good suggestion. Obviously, access to the area outside the fence will be difficult for maintenance, and I'm not personally a landscape architect, but the one who handles all our stuff could probably spec a meadow or no mow mix.
I didn't see anything here, but it doesn't have to be like trying to grow pollinator things, you know, that are wildflowers. We throw stuff in there, of course, but they're really ugly in the spring.
Yeah.
But if you do just things like clovers and trefoils, it doesn't do as much. And of course, in the front, where you want front to be more landscape look, well, do whatever you want, you know, put in some, if you want to mow it or whatever. I was just suggesting that because
Keep in mind the suggestions only.
Yep.
It's a suggestion, and it has advantages
Well,
to you.
clients like suggestions that save maintenance costs
Save
too,
money.
so that's,
You could throw some hardwoods in across the back too, because if you
Yeah.
lose a couple of the conifers, then you've got some deciduous things, oaks, maples, whatever. Mix it up. The more you
Native
mix,
species.
pardon?
Native species.
Native. The more you mix it up, the less likely you are to have everything die from one cause. Right?
one thing I did breeze over, if I could take a second. We have graded berms around kind of the perimeter of the site, kind of twofold. One, being a green site, there's quite a bit of topsoil that's going to have to be removed. So if we don't have to truck it off site, it's good. And obviously from a visual mitigation standpoint, if we can block any of the sight lines from outside of the site, that's also a good thing. As you noted, the landscaping at the north end, obviously we were pretty cognizant of the residential district across from there. So at the north end of the site, it is mostly evergreens. They'll grow quickly, they'll fill in. Up along the front, it's more traditional street trees, deciduous types.
It's just that if you do things that grow quickly, they also die quickly. So you mix in some things that don't grow quickly, and then you've got a longer lasting berm.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments from the board? No? Ed, anything from engineering?
Well, he's got our comments that we've sent, that he's working on, mostly stormwater related. I will bring up an issue that Matt and I can come up because of the project going on next door, the first Uniland project there. It has to do with power. You had conversations with NYSEG? And the reason I bring it up is they reached out to us, the town, and they were gonna like take out a whole bunch of trees along pavement because they were running the power on poles across pavement to service what's being built right there now. And we said, no, you've got to put power down Eastport because as development goes on, you've got to bury your power down Eastport. So I don't know what conversations you've had with them, but
I'll let Tim talk about it. It's interesting because Nextera, by nature of the business, has a lot of connections, but this is obviously a little different.
Tim, if you wouldn't mind, just for the
Yeah,
record,
sure.
just for your...
Tim Same with NextEra Energy.
Thank you.
I'm the operations leader for our company. We're actually a subsidiary company to a much larger national and international. We have assets. NextEra Energy Transmission is a subsidiary company to NextEra, which owns Florida Power and Light down in Florida. And then we build transmission infrastructure all over the country, and we have facilities in Canada right now as well. So we currently have a facility in the region, Erie and Niagara counties. We have 2 substations, high voltage electric substations. One's in the town of Elma and one's in the town of Lockport. And then we have a 20-mile overhead line that connects them currently. That's what we have in service in all of New York State as a transmission company. You've probably heard our name elsewhere, but it's most likely renewables. We do a bunch of renewables all over the country as well, in New York State previously. But that's our NextEra Energy Resources subsidiary company. So as far as electric service, we've only had very preliminary conversations, and we don't really have any pull when it comes to that. We're a utility customer just like anybody else. We're going to be receiving from NYSEG, our distribution service here. And we have been in contact, but just kind of starting the process as far as making sure they know we're coming. We've heard there's potentially long lead times with the electric service, as well as we've made contact on the gas service as well. And they told, the gas companies told us that they had another application or someone else contact them, I believe further west than us even, so not just the initial Uniland development, but the next property to the west of us as well. So they're planning more of a gas main. I had that conversation today actually with National Fuel, and they're having more of a gas main brought down the right of way of Eastport as you suggested with the electric. And obviously, I think to your point, it's better to probably get their underground, main in along Eastport Drive on the electric side as well. But we don't have any say in that. We just request service like anybody else, and we're kind of at their mercy.
just FYI, I mean, I did have conversations with the town attorney, and if there's anything the town can do to mandate that that's where it goes, we're going to.
Yeah, I mean, I think your typical section shows, right, shows the utility strip, and, we would obviously be supportive of that, and, it's kind of out of our hands, but we have at least made the initial contact and let them know we're coming, and that our MEP engineers from Zach's team will be in touch to kind of get through the load requirements of the building, et cetera.
Okay. That's it. Okay, thank you.
Yep, thank you.
Emily, anything from legal?
No, I don't have anything.
Matt, anything from the building department?
I just want to highlight the comment letter that the northern landscape features that are going to block off Pleasant View Drive should have some sort of a maintenance covenant filed, just like the adjoining parcel. We had that initial discussion at our meetings.
Who would that? Is there a boilerplate I'm assuming was established as part of that?
Provide a copy of sure our attorney's office.
Yeah.
And I think also the stormwater maintenance agreement would, if we could get a copy of that.
Yeah, Jen's got it.
Yeah.
I don't know if that generally follows the DEC criteria, but.
The town's got a standard one they use, with just basically just changing the property location and the owner's name.
Being a larger company, usually there's a few people who want to get eyes on those things, so.
With a couple letters behind their names? Matt, anything else from the building department?
Thank you.
Okay. At this point, we'll open up to the public for any questions or comments that they may have. Okay. Anything else from the board? No?
A suggestion that we table.
We will look for a motion to table.
I make a motion to table to a future meeting.
Second.
All those in favor say aye. 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 Opposed, say no. We will see you back here again
Yeah.
Yeah.
At an unknown
at a date to be
time.
determined.
Yeah, so no second meeting for the month, and the next one would be
We
May.
don't have one, yeah, the next meeting is May 7th.
Okay.
And we'll
In-
definitely make sure that you
For
know.
this board, the public hearing just will be reopened at the next meeting?
There is no public hearing.
We don't-
There isn't? Okay, so it doesn't,
No.
you don't
by-
have to set a date
no,
for,
By the next meeting, you should be able to do seeker.
okay.
That I don't know.
The 30-day window
Is there a
should be
special use?
closed. and-
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Matt, was there a special use permit on this one?
Not for this site, no.
Okay, so no special use permit, we can,
Yeah, so if you can address all the
We'll have-
outstanding
yeah.
comments.
Yeah, at the next meeting, we should be able to do seeker and site plan.
Great. Well, thank you.
Would your county would have to be addressed fully, or would that be before town?
At what stage, I guess, would the Erie County sewer extension have to be?
Before town board approval.
Okay.
So after the planning board.
So regardless, that might be the end of May, so,
Yeah, depending on.
yeah.
Yeah, we can get you out of our board and you can be awaiting.
Yeah, the only
The
thing
town
that
board.
won't be required before town board approval would be the filing of the stormwater permit for the county. And then any outside agency approvals. So
Okay.
sewer, water.
I think sewer, water is a tap and backflow, so
Right,
that's
yeah,
easy,
Yeah,
but,
that's just an approval letter of the backflow container, basically.
okay. Yeah, sewer is the bigger one, especially talking about the electric and gas extensions. I think that might all have to kind of tie together a little, so,
Yeah, well, usually the sewer will have its own right of way, or have its own easement, you know, behind the town right of way. They usually take their own easement for their line.
I think we kind of went back and forth about the location, but in the right of way, out of the right of way, because if it's out of the right of way, easements will have to come from Uniland.
For part of it, yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Yes. But if but if you said there's somebody to the west of you looking, I mean, it's gonna continue for them as they go along.
I
So
think we
it'd
need-
be to their benefit just to get it done, to give it one fell swoop.
Probably circle back with Uniland,
Yeah.
so
Yep,
more information.
yeah, it's all good. Thank you, thank you. Okay, we will move on to project number 3001, ESG Properties. 6125 Genesee.
Things all here. Good evening, members of the planning board. Ari Goldberg from the law firm of Barclay Damon for the applicant. Catherine Rogers and Dave Lennox are with me tonight. We were last here on March 5 after being referred from the town board. And as I said at that time, some of you may be having deja vu because this project was back before you in November of 2021 when you recommended a negative declaration, and then in March of 2022 when you recommended a special use permit. That was for the soil recycling facility at 6125 Genesee. Once the team at ESG or NSOL got on the property, they made some revisions based on the site to what was approved, and now we're coming back here to get those approved. Just want to make it clear that as part of this process, there is no proposed ground disturbance or construction. It's just to align the as-built plan with the plan that's now going to be approved by the town. Since we were here last, the town has done its part in circulating seeker, and we did receive some comments back from agencies. I'm going to turn it over to Kathleen, who's going to give an update on what we've done in terms of seeker responses.
Good evening, thank you. So we provided some responses on the seeker comments received from the engineering department and building department regarding the floodplain issue on the property. We submitted a floodplain evaluation I can go over that in more detail if some of the board members haven't had a chance to go through that. We also received a comment from the DOT, and we provided a drawing showing the turning radiuses in our main facility entrance. And then we also received the wetland jurisdictional determination letter from DEC just yesterday. And based upon what we are proposing, no new disturbance or construction. They're similar to the first project heard this evening. There is a wetland on the property, but it is approximately 900 feet to the east of our facility site itself. The property in question is about 95 acres. The soil recycling facility occupies about 6 acres of that. Would the board like me to go through that wetland evaluation in any type of detail, or provide answers to questions? Go through that? The facility itself is built atop an area that has been reclaimed. The property is a previously mined and disturbed quarry. The first disturbance on the property happened in roughly 1948. So the property has seen several iterations of the actual topography. NSOL surveyed the property to provide the as-built drawing of the facility. Part of that survey was to provide current and accurate topography for the facility site. Not the entire property, just the facility site. We evaluated the floodplain information just upstream and downstream of the ESG property and found that the flood elevation upstream is at about 746 feet. Downstream, it's at about 729 feet. Using those details to approximate the floodplain elevation on the ESG property, we determined it to be at about 732 feet. That said, the facility itself is located on kind of a peninsula of fill material, and the elevations of the facility are between 766 and 759 feet. So our conclusion based on that information is that the soil recycling facility itself and the stormwater basins as they are built don't have any risk of flood damage. And also we concluded that the stormwater controls we have in place don't have any flooding potential either.
Okay, thank you. Any questions or comments from the board? No? Okay. Ed, anything from engineering?
No, we just finished the review of what was submitted for the stormwater and the floodplain, and we're fine with what they concluded. I apologize, I don't know, did you submit us the letters from DOT and stuff?
The seeker comments?
Correct.
Our response letter?
Yeah, well, their response, well, your response, okay, let me back up. You responded with what they were asking for.
We did.
You haven't got a response from them yet on that?
We have not.
Okay, all right, so that's fine, all right.
If we do, we'll.
Yeah, okay. That's it, no, that's fine.
Emily, anything from legal?
No.
Matt, from building?
No, the comments were satisfied.
Okay. Open up to the public? I too.
Battery's running
Uh, We should probably open up seeker now?
We do seeker.
Okay. And Cindy, I do not need a motion, right? To open? Open seeker, no motion?
No.
Okay, So we're going to start, we'll do our seeker review then. Short form. So will the proposed action create a material conflict with an adopted land use plan or zoning regulations? No. Will the proposed action result in change in the use or intensity of use of land? Will the proposed action impair the character or quality of the existing community? 4 is not applicable. 5, will the proposed action result in an adverse change in the existing level of traffic or affect existing infrastructure for mass transit, biking, or walkway?
No.
6, will the proposed action cause an increase in the use of energy and it fails to incorporate reasonably available energy conservation or renewable energy opportunities?
No.
Will the proposed action impact existing public or private water supplies?
No.
Public or private wastewater treatment utilities?
No.
Number 8, will the proposed action impair the character or quality of important historic, archaeological, architectural, or aesthetic resources? Number 9, will the proposed action result in an adverse change to natural resources?
No.
Number 10, will the proposed action result in an increase in potential for erosion, flooding, or drainage problems?
Apparently no.
Number 11, will the proposed action create a hazard to environmental resources or human health?
No.
Okay.
I make a motion.
Sounds like a good plan.
To issue a neg deck on the seeker review for this project.
I'll second that. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, say no. Okay. Anybody want to make a motion on the site plan?
I will.
Okay.
I'll make a motion to approve the site plan of this project as presented with the information received this evening, verifying that the floodplain issues and other issues have been resolved.
Second.
All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, say no.
So if I could just make a comment, so it'll be prior to town board approval, we'll need the DOT sign off.
Okay. You should push that in there for a response. You want to
Yeah,
see a response?
yes. And I've got to look at the stormwater agreement. I believe you filed one originally, I think.
We have one for the previous
Yes.
site plan approval.
I'll have to look at what the attachments indicate, because typically I attach the plans, and if they've changed, we'll have to update it and refile it.
Okay.
All right, to clarify, we don't, it's not that we want to see it, the town board will not make a recommendation, will not do their business until they see that the responses.
Oh, that's fine.
Yeah.
Our public hearing with the town board is Monday.
Yep.
And then I assume we're getting, I think it's too many process for approval, so we wouldn't be pushed to, we'd be pushed to the
June?
second April time.
Yeah.
To June?
So we got time, push the DOT as well.
Okay.
Okay, great, thank you very much.
Is there a special use permit recommendation?
Did we have any?
Did we have one on this one? Oh, we did?
Matt? We did.
Oh, we do.
Give you
Wait, who's the Matt?
Says it's scheduled for April 7th.
Or 7, yeah.
The hearing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
The hearing.
Public
scheduled-
hearing for the town.
Yeah, the hearing's scheduled for the 7th.
right.
Yeah.
Just, did the board make a recommendation on it to the board? Did planning board make a recommendation to the town
The
board?
town board,
Special use.
already. Was the recommendation to set the public hearing already made to the town board?
It-
So it's
yeah,
already,
Yeah,
the 7th, okay.
yeah, so we can't, we're,
And you don't
We just need to-
approval or denial?
But you recommend
oh,
approval?
yeah.
Or if you have any conditions?
Yep, yeah.
They just recommend that they schedule it for the town board. They set the public hearing for the town board.
Yeah, we're good, yeah.
Who received the information in that letter? Special use permit should list DEC registered soil recycling facility status, this current finance renewal cycle as well. That's all I saw. I don't think there's a.
And you have a copy of that letter,
You
right?
have a copy of it?
I do,
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
so go through that.
Yeah,
You don't have to write anything down.
Okay.
And we don't have to try to remember because clearly we can't.
I have to have everything right in front of me.
Thanks very much.
Thank you. Well, I think we've got our last case with audience here. So at this point, we'll call up project number 4159, Chevette's Restaurant, 5389 Genesee Street.
Sure does.
Mr. Hopkins and Mr. Boyle.
Good evening, members of the Planning Board. Sean Hopkins on behalf of the applicant. You've seen this project previously. However, we're back to present an updated layout that results from some input received from the Erie County Department of Public Works, which of course has jurisdiction over Harris Hill, and then the New York State Department of Transportation, which has jurisdiction over Genesee. In summary, and the town provided us with a copy, the DOT took the position that they were requiring us to close the existing curb cut onto Genesee, which was very problematic. Problematic for several reasons. Number one, tractor trailer access. And number two, when the potential long-term tenant, Chevette's, became aware of that, they made it quite clear that that was a deal breaker. Meaning if we couldn't have any kind of access onto two different streets, we didn't have a project. And the last thing we wanted was to have a vacant restaurant sitting there for the foreseeable future with no ability to access onto a state road. So we did have David Cruz from Pizarro Associates prepare a traffic analysis. We provided that to both the DOT and the Erie County Department of Public Works, made them aware of the situation relative to the potential tenant, and we do want to express their gratitude. They reviewed that updated analysis very quickly. On the last day of March, they did issue two letters. So one letter came out from Kevin Hebert of the New York State Department of Transportation. And basically his letter modifies DOT's original position, and that they will allow right in, right out only driveway onto Genesee, exactly where it sits today, which I think we're all familiar with. Secondly, Mr. Hebert, talking to Gina Wilkolowski of the Erie County Department of Public Works, and we were okay with this. The existing driveway onto Harris Hill, we all know how close it is to that signalized, very busy intersection. So they suggested that we move that driveway as far away as we can from the signalized intersection. Mr. Boyle, to his credit, was able to convince Chevette's that's as good as we're going to get. And ultimately, within a matter of 24 hours, we submitted updated plans, an updated site plan, and an updated truck turning plan to both those agencies. Again, DOT and ECDPW. And thankfully, as of today, and it was literally today, they knew there was a planning board meeting. Both of them have issued updated emails, one email from Kevin Hebert and a letter from Gina Wilkolowski of Erie County Department of Public Works confirming that what we've proposed is acceptable. With one minor comment. DOT on our site plan, which you can see is an exhibit. It's Exhibit 1. We're showing a pork chop island onto Genesee, because if you just put a sign, we all know people ignore it. The pork chop island can be ignored, but it's a little bit more difficult. DOT in its email today said they want us just to modify that slightly, but they did indicate we can handle that as part of the highway work permit process. So what we're asking you to consider this evening is an amended resolution of support to the town board. Keep in mind we have two approvals pending. We have a request for a site plan approval and a request for special use permit for restaurant use, because it's been a change in the restaurant, and since late last year there is no longer a restaurant there. And then secondly, a negative declaration was previously issued pursuant to the State Environmental Quality Review Act. I do not believe that has to be revisited, so I just wanted to bring it up. So that's simply what we're asking this evening, is for an answer on those two inquiries. Most importantly, an updated, modified recommendation to the town board. If there's any questions, this is a lot of information that came in over the course of the past couple of days, but I think in the end it's very straightforward, and that we addressed both the comments from DOT and the Erie County Department of Public Works. And I want to give Tim credit as well, because he authorized making changes to those plans and the additional analysis on a very, very expedited basis. So if there are any questions, either myself or Tim would welcome the opportunity to address them.
Emily, just a quick question. We do agree that seeker's not needed again, right?
No, we don't need to read.
Yeah, it shouldn't. Yeah. I just wanted to bring it up so we didn't get further down the path and
Appreciate
then come
that.
up again.
Yep, yep. Questions or comments from the board?
No?
I think moving the driveway on Harris Hill is the only answer.
Yep.
I mean, traffic backs up past the Harris Hill or the Bowmansville Post Office. There.
We know it does.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, and at least this way you'll have some stacking between your driveway and the
Right.
corner.
Right. Now, this will definitely be an improvement compared to current conditions.
Is there any changes to any landscaping or anything with changing the driveway?
Well, yeah,
The other
so-
one out, right?
Yeah, so Pat's going to have to modify the landscape plan a little bit, but
It's
yeah,
just a rough-
minor details, but absolutely he will be.
Okay.
And he'll have to provide that information to Mr. Shower from technical perspective, take another quick review, hopefully.
I'm good with it. I've been a little worried about that Harris Hill. It's a mess.
Yeah.
The word functional is in this letter.
Casserole?
About the functional section of the intersection. I burst out laughing.
Right.
There's no functional function in that intersection.
The other nice aspect of this project is, and I think most of you are aware, Matt actually was the one who made me originally aware, thank you, but it's also come up from the DOT. DOT is looking at a possible improvement project to that overall intersection. One of the alternatives that Tim and I were made aware of was a roundabout. And by moving that driveway on Harris Hill, if and when that occurs, which I actually personally think would be super cool, it's not going to interfere with our driveway. Neither of these driveways will. So it sets it up for that project if and when it occurs, which I think would solve to a large degree a lot of the issues there.
I wouldn't worry about that too much. I can't.
You just
see
don't
that.
think it'll happen? Okay.
Not in,
Roundabout there?
I have no skin in that.
It was mentioned to us,
I
right,
see it.
Tim?
That's a busy intersection.
Yeah.
But
You'd be surprised how well they can work.
Yeah, the DOT put it in their letter.
Yeah, it's in their letter.
Yeah,
One of
they've-
the, one of the design considerations is a roundabout.
Yeah, I mean,
It'd be a
Yeah.
task.
Oh, yeah, it'd be a task, and it might involve some taking of private land.
Multiple takings and.
Yeah.
Yep.
But I like the idea.
And we just like the idea that we're set up, so if and when that occurs,
yeah.
we're good.
No, it makes sense. It's good to me.
Well, this is exciting. Have a restaurant in that building.
Sure.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
We'll meet you there, we'll meet you there for lunch.
they're very excited.
Yeah, they really are. They really want to be here.
I saw them cooking in the parking lot in Springville the other day.
A big part of their business are those pop-ups.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
A huge part.
Yeah, they're a high volume business.
Yeah.
I drove past one of their other facilities in, I guess, Lockport?
Lockport, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
It's not where you think it would be,
No,
but yeah.
it's really not, so.
And their other one is on a rural road in Brant.
Okay.
Their original-
Oh, that's right. I forgot they have one there.
Part of a farm, and, they have a farm down the road, a potato farm, I mean, they've been around a long time.
Yep.
But they are. Tim spent a lot of time looking throughout West New York with sites with them, and this is the site they selected, so this is really where they want to be. They just couldn't go where they didn't have good access.
Well, you read through the pastoral report and you absolutely understand all that.
Yep,
Made a lot
we do.
of sense. Any other questions or comments from the board? Add anything from engineering that we haven't discussed?
No, I'm fine if you want to recommend site plan approval based on the letters from Gina and Kevin. They're fine, I'm fine.
Thanks,
Great.
Ed.
Emily, anything from legal?
Nothing to add, no.
Matt, anything from the building department? At this point, we'll open up to anybody in the public. Well, there is nobody, so I just want to make sure that we do say that we are looking for comment from the public. Okay, look for a motion.
It's not my turn.
I'll move on the site plan excuse me, as presented.
I'll second that.
All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, say no. We'll make our recommendation to the town for amendment.
Thank you. Everyone enjoy the rest of the beautiful spring evening.
Thank you very much. Great, thank
You know what? Let's
Good work.
reopen this thing.
We'll get there.
Good work, Tim. Very good. Thank you.
Appreciate all your support.
Sure. When we open it.
Yeah.
How soon? How much longer?
By the end of the year,
Okay.
yeah.
That quick.
Signs are going up next week. Just temporary coming soon signs. Budget's done, lease is signed. So-
Great. That's awesome.
I think it's a great
Very
use
good.
of that building.
If you want, just, I mean, you'll need a PIP permit for the site, depending on, your schedule, if you get that in prior to the town board agenda for approval of the site, they can do the PIP the same night. They can do the same night if you can get it in, so.
A permit for what?
A private improvement permit on the site work, whatever site work they do. Yep,
We'll make sure Pat's aware of that.
yep, okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, our last item of the night on the agenda is the review of local law 1, 2, and 3. Local laws 1, 2, and 3. Do either one of you want to talk to us about it, or?
So local law 1 is basically rezoning the changes to the actual code, which would be the AR, the MFMU going away, and then being replaced with either an MF or an MU. In some situations, they actually did revert to their original or true zoning in our district, the residential, if that's what their current use were. Local law 2 was the listing of the 3 schedules of the properties then that were being changed. Local law 3 then is the change of the fees, the entire fee schedule. What was found in 23 is that taking those actual numbers out of the code and putting them into a separate resolution where they could be adjusted more easily without public hearing was the direction that the town went at that time. So this kind of completes that process because there were some elements, I believe that Jennifer Strong had found that were incomplete. So that kind of cleans all of the fee schedule up. So I can tell you honestly, the number of comments and calls from over 1,000 letters that were distributed is very low. Most of them were people that just didn't understand or even know what their zoning had been. Had no idea that their home was MFMU originally and wanted to know what the effect of MF was going to have on them. For the most part, it really doesn't have an effect on how they enjoy their home. Their home is now going to be properly zoned in that multifamily where a detached or an attached unit is allowed. So for the AR changes, the AR change was very focused on density. Density meaning that if a lot size was to be 3 acres with 300 foot of frontage, and they had sewer hookup available, that it did not revert to a residential lot. And there was a focus from day one, I think, with the moratorium and what that was supposed to accomplish. And so that portion of the law does exactly that.
Great. Any questions or comments from the board?
I just question why is like a patio home put in multifamily because they're individually owned.
So are condos or townhouses.
Yeah.
And what's interesting is when going through the RPS system for actual different developments, some of them are as a whole under an association and then separately, individually SBL. But for the most part, they're just as you're saying, just like a single family home. It's just that they're in a cluster.
They're just
They're
density.
being built in their actual regulations. So anything that was townhouse, condo, patio home, those are all included in that MF.
In MF. It's
Matt,
ju-
do you have anything to add to that?
My personal opinion, those should be a planned unit development in a residential district. These are all individually owned lots, they're not attached dwelling units per se,
Yep.
as an apartment complex. And it's to prevent a future conversion should HOAs dissolve from additional dwelling units, rental units, any of the multifamily permitted uses. And these were originally intended to be single-family projects, higher density, with common area, it fits better with planned unit development. But that's, again, that's an opinion, and it kind of lines up with what the original code identifies. Some of the larger, some of the smaller projects are less than the 10-acre threshold, but to retroactively zone those, it doesn't hurt it, it just prevents any future PUDs from being overlaid on the smaller than 10-acre lots.
for it to be used as apartments?
No, well, regardless, I mean, an HOA could dissolve. You know, future uses down the road, you could dissolve, they could dissolve HOAs, but listed in a multifamily district, it could increase the number of units and more rental opportunities. These are, again, single-family dwellings that pay an association fee for maintenance.
So then they would be allowed to operate individually and not in an association?
In a multi-family district.
And then what would happen with their common areas?
That's the question. What would happen with the common area? If you put more dwelling units, according to multi-family, it would be impossible. I don't think that was the intent of the division of development and what was by this board.
Clear. Yep. Any other questions or comments from the board? Ed, anything to add on this one? No? Emily, anything from legal?
No.
Man, I just asked you yourself. Ask for any public input. There is no public, so there's no public input. We don't have to do anything on this one, right?
Well, you could,
We could.
board,
Recommendation to adopt, is that what?
that you completed your review and that you are in favor or not in favor or in parts and pieces or have any conditions to it going forward to the town board.
Do we need a vote on that then?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. We need a motion and then a vote. Yep.
A motion to vote? Or what would the motion be?
Would it be that you think the board agrees with the changes or not?
Are there any people that have, is there anybody on the board that has anything that would change anything that was in front of them?
Oh, I see.
So then we would probably make a motion.
I would make a motion to adopt
Recommendation.
local law,
Recommendation.
recommend adoption of laws 1, 2, and 3.
Is there any concern with what Matt's talking about? Or?
Well,
Because, I mean, Matt, you're talking about redoing a lot of the rezoning, right? Going back to
Not
the,
necessarily, it's, you know, specifically these patio home and townhome communities that are single-family,
mm-hmm.
either attached or detached, individual tax parcel properties.
During the original discussions, was that brought up?
Very early, 15 months ago.
How are they currently zoned? As
Multifamily mixed use.
so they're currently multifamily?
Currently multifamily mixed
So
use.
which way do they go in that for MU?
We were reducing the number of residential districts. We had an MFR 3, MFR 4,
Oh.
5, we had all these districts for, specifically for these higher density communities.
Yeah.
Communities. That was the up and coming market. I mean, there's nothing saying in the near future that we're not going to have manufactured homes projects coming. I mean, with the economy the way it is and the price of land, it's probably going to buy less expensive than
Right.
rental space. But that's, again, that's a different type of a build-out.
So when they went from mixed family, mixed use, they just kind of gave everybody one or the other, and they didn't put the effort into.
Right.
So, yeah, I guess, having said that, I guess I withdraw my nomination.
Well, we didn't take it further, so.
I don't have any suggestions how they would change it. I mean, other than what we just talked about. And I looked over the map as best as I could, and there are a couple areas that I personally disagree with, but I can't say that I would vote against this change, because amendments can always be amended. So you've made a recommendation to approve?
No, I'm actually going to hold on that for a minute.
Well, the local laws are separate than the map.
Yeah.
Say it again?
The local laws are, the map is a fourth item.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay. So then, yes, I do recommend adoption of local laws
One,
Correct, so.
1, 2, and 3.
It's not an easy one.
Yeah, I mean, they can make the recommendation with the condition that the comment be looked at, you know, because it's got to go to the town boards with public hearing and everything else, so it would be one of the comments
Again,
that
somebody,
would have to be looked at.
like Rebecca said, it's probably a small part of the whole.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, that can be submitted as a comment.
That we'd like.
One of the public comments that we're going to get, I assume, at the public hearing.
Yeah,
And at that point, we'll have to sit down and look at them all anyway.
okay. Seems to work for me.
Absolutely.
Did you capture all that, Cindy?
Really?
I think that's, so when you had these structures, these areas zoned MFMU, and then you have that split into two zoning classifications, if a third or additional zoning classifications were recommended, I never heard that in discussions, so that's, I believe, why it would have never been brought to the table. So they were either put into the MF or they were put into the MU.
Yeah, I could see how that would happen. I mean, that would be the quickest way of dividing. I mean, you have a whole town to go over, I get it. But, I mean, it makes a lot of sense. Like, I'm thinking about it more the way Matt describes it. For these large communities, if they are broken, if the HOA is broken apart, then you have this big building that's a common space, or this pool, or whatever, anyone can come in, and that's now a multifamily. I mean, you could build whatever you want there, provided our requirements for the town. That could be very disturbing to the people that live around it in the small patio homes. So, I mean, I get why that would be disruptive. So, yeah, I mean, that should be readdressed.
So we're going to make a motion to approve with the comment that,
Just that it be looked at?
yeah,
Yeah, that it be considered. Matt's comments get
considered.
taken into
Yes,
account.
yes, considered. Okay, look for a second on that. I'll second it. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, say no. All right. Look for any questions or comments from the board from anything they want to discuss. Anything? Nothing? Okay. Add anything else that we didn't cover that you'd like to talk about? Emily, anything from legal? No? Matt? No. Okay, I will make a motion to adjourn.
Suck it.
All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, say no. Motion adjourned. Meeting adjourned.
Motion is one.
Motion passed. Meeting adjourned.
All right, everybody enjoy the rest of April.
Remember, we're off until May 7th.
Should be warmer.
Yeah, well, why would you jinx it?
You're still recording?
Good night, everyone. See you.
Yeah. I wasn't able to move a couple things along.
Okay, good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Yeah, I'm starting to run out of space to put all these